All right. Hey, everybody. I hope you're having a good start to your day. So, this playoffs, NLDS, ALDS, pretty fascinating baseball. And I don't know about you, but it's teaching me some things and getting me to realize some stuff as well. And I'm sure teams are realizing this as well, and wondering if the Yankees can learn some lessons from this too. And I'm guessing with all the brain trust they have, I'd imagine they can. But some of the things that I've been noticing too, and let's go through the series here. Okay, you got the LDS, you got Texas Rangers right now against the Baltimore Orioles. Rangers swept the Orioles. Rangers, they loaded up in free agency. They got some young players coming up as well, and they still have a young pipeline, some good other players developing too. But they invested a lot in free agency the last couple of years, pitching side and offensive side, and it's bearing fruit. Okay, now with the Baltimore Orioles, a young team. Like I said before, I think they're a year away. So, but again, they have the number one farm in baseball. Okay, what does that tell you? It tells me, since the owners are cheap and like to be frugal and whatever, and we know this, that their best option is to get better in the trade route and use some of the prospects they have, which they can pretty much make any kind of trade they want. But if I'm them, I'm calling the White Sox right now and say, hey, what do you want for Luis Robert and Dylan Cease? That's a blockbuster trade I think the Orioles can make and should make. And not only to create space between them and the rest of the American leagues, but I think it would wake some of the other teams up in the American League East and force them to make some aggressive moves as well. That would change the landscape of the American League. And again, it would show everybody that this year is not a fluke. So, they got outplayed by a better team. And they need players like that at the major league level to compete. As excited I am as with Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman and Cedric Mullins and the rest of them, they need some stud players. And Jackson Holloway's not ready yet, and some other guys, but it's still not enough. So I would be looking to be aggressive in the trade route this offseason if I were them. Okay? And I think the Blue Jays are going to build around the nucleus. The Red Sox are going to spend. Tampa Bay Rays are going to continue to bring in pitchers. They do a great job of developing players and make pitchers better. So, and it shows the Yankees, at least in my opinion, that they have the financial resources and they have the players to make a trade. They have both avenues that they can benefit from. Okay? And if I'm them, I'm figuring how, and this is something I asked last night, okay, in a short, how can the Yankees get better and become an elite playoff team again while staying under the Cohen threshold? How creative do they need to be? How many non-tenders do they have to make? How many signings do they have to make? How many trades do they have to make? I think it's got to be a combination of a bunch of them. And the Yankees have the resources to do it. Do they have the guts to do it? Is the question, or the willingness to do it. Okay? If spending's the excuse, well, this is an opportunity to do some things. Okay? You have a lot of money you can clear up by non-tendering certain players and trading certain players, which you can add 20, 30 million to the 60, 70 million you already have coming off the books. So make it easier. And again, it's very fascinating right now because a lot of talk revolves around Jung-Hoo Lee, young dynamic outfielder who could be a dynamic leadoff hitter for the Yankees. He hits from the lefty side. He's a high on-base percentage, low strikeout guy. He has more walks than strikeouts in his career, which is a great sign. He hits for contact from every direction, and he bats lefty. He also puts the ball in play on a regular basis, no matter where it's pitched to him. And he's got elite defense and speed in the outfield, too. So a perfect candidate for leadoff hitter, particularly if spending's going to be the excuse and they're not going to spend on Cody Bellinger or trade for Juan Soto. This is the guy they have to get, okay? And Yoshinobu Yamamoto, if they're going to spend on anything, big expenditure, and it's not going to be Bellinger, it's not going to be Soto, then it's got to be Yamamoto for pitching, okay? We have to add to the pitching. How did I learn, how did I know about that? Well, look at the Dodgers. They've got Clayton Kershaw, who's hanging on by a string, and Bobby Miller. Who else do they have after that? Urias is out for domestic violence, his second. He may not come back to baseball. He may not. They got Walker Buehler. It's decimated beyond those two. So you can never have enough pitching. which is why investing in a guy like this, my guess is they're going to probably try to sign either Blake Snell or Aaron Nola free agency and maybe trade for Corbin Burnes. They've got to add to what they have already, and there's no guarantee that Clayton Kershaw is going to come back. Okay, hanging on for dear life. Is his shoulder going to stay in one piece? His arm? We don't know. Which is why you can never have enough pitching. Which is why, long relief is a good idea, in which the Yankees would be wise to move a guy like Nestor Cortes into long reliefs to make room for a guy like Yamamoto in free agency. Okay, and coming from Japan, he's touted as the best pitcher to ever come out of Japan. Sub 2 ERA. He's thrown 2 no-hitters this year. He's got under a 1.2 ERA this year. He's just what the Yankees need. And if he costs $25 million, then he costs $25 million. Okay, and the Yankees do have the resources to clear off more money to make a signing like him and more signings possible. Because the fact is, too, a couple of things in perspective, contracts nowadays are bigger, more pricey, longer. Okay, so 3 contracts now would be the equivalent of 5 or 6 contracts in 2009 when the Yankees made their last big splash in free agency. So something to keep in mind, supplemental moves. Nick Swisher was a supplemental move for the Yankees. Damaso Marte, supplemental move. They complemented Mark Teixeira, AJ Burnett, and CC Sabathia. Supplemental signings like Kevin Kiermaier to go along with a Hung Joo Lee or something like that would be a good idea. Or Jeimer Candelario for third base, or trade for Brendan Donovan, or something like that, which would make it easier for them to move on from Gleyber Torres and get some relief pitching that the Yankees need in a trade for him. So I know people don't like to hear about moving Gleyber Torres, but the fact is he's going to make $15 million in arbitration. He's going to make 20 plus after free agency if he has and once he hits free agency, if he has a decent year. Okay, are the Yankees going to give him a 9-figure contract? I don't know. And does his offense justify 20 home runs, which very spotty defense? That's not enough to justify a big 9-figure deal. We're not giving up 35 home runs. You get a Jeimer Candelario or a Donovan, something like that, you can replace his offense and get better defensively in the infield at the same time. Whether it's Candelario at third and Oswald Peraza at second, or Oswald Peraza at second, Brandon Donovan at third, whatever you decide to do. Okay, and the fact is the Yankees have options here. Okay, and going over to the other National League Series right now, the Phillies and the Braves, you could tell that some of the Braves pitchers are hanging on pretty credibly, but the Phillies bats are waking up, and I think some of the Phillies starters, the Braves starters might be getting tired a little bit from the long season, which is why it's good for the Phillies to have guys like Taijuan Walker and some of these other guys in the bullpen to give them long relief if they need long relief. So the starting depth is important, which is why I'm happy that if the Yankees even if the Yankees don't get Yamamoto, they've got guys like Will Warren and Drew Thorpe and Chase Hampton waiting here. They've got pitching prospects on the starting pitching side that can come up and be complements to this rotation, add to this rotation, while Michael King gets an opportunity to continue to be a starter, which the Yankees have said they want to do. So, but a Yamamoto and a Michael King, I'd be okay with that. And if they happen to have to trade somebody like Clark Schmidt or something like that to get a guy like Brandon Donovan from the Cardinals, who need pitchers, again, would anybody be upset if they replace Clark Schmidt with Will Warren or Drew Thorpe? I don't think so. And still had Michael King and still got Yamamoto. I don't think there'd be many outraged people. So this is where this piece of the puzzle needs to be figured out when it comes to the Yankees. They've got multiple holes to fill. 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. And getting Soto by himself or Soto and Bellinger together isn't enough. Even Soto, Bellinger, and Yamamoto isn't enough. Okay? They still need they need a stud in the bullpen and 2 starting pitchers. Okay? And again, would signing Bellinger prevent them from getting other guys? Would extending Soto prevent them from getting other guys? I would love this. I would love Soto. He's my number one choice. Everybody knows that for like a year now. But again, if it's going to prevent them from making all the moves that they need to make, then I'm not in support of it. They've got multiple holes they need to fill. I would rather have Lee and Kiermaier and trading for a reliever and getting Yamamoto and getting someone else too. an infielder over Juan Soto by himself or over Cody Bellinger by himself. So these are the lessons that I'm learning from these playoff series. Like having depth in the pitching, not only rotation, but having some guys that and I've said this too, long relief is a bridge from starting pitching to short relief. And if you have enough long relief guys, it can take some of the brunt off of the starting pitching, especially if they had bad days. You've got guys who can step in and not wear the bullpen out. Okay? Be a good idea. When the Yankees were at their best, they had guys that came in long relief. They had guys that gave us length. They had good backups to their starting offensive players, right? And this is something that Cole mentioned too. We got to get better in the depth side, on the depth side. And he's absolutely right, okay? And needing more contact hitters on the lefty side, like Aaron Judge suggested. Absolutely right. I love Joey's suggestion last night. He mentioned a guy like Jason Hayward, okay? Not going to cost a lot of money. He's 33 years old, but he's a veteran. He's got experience, got championship experience, and he's a born leader, a vocal leader. You give somebody like that, if they don't happen to get a Kevin Kiermaier and they get Lee and Jason Hayward, I'd be okay with that. Hayward also hits on the lefty side, gives him another a way of lengthening the lineup and taking some of the pressure off of Judge and Stanton. Okay, and this is an ideal opportunity to do this. So those are the lessons from some of these series. Like the Orioles have to, they have to explore this avenue of trades. Number one farm in baseball, use it to try to get better if you're not going to spend in free agency. The Twins and the Astros. The Astros are still showing, despite the consistent attacks from the Twins, that good pitching shuts down good hitting. They're showing it. Okay, Verlander shut them down. Christian Javier shut them down. So shut down multiple opportunities yesterday. And as long as they keep showing good pitching, they're going to find ways to win games. And it looks like we might be heading towards all Texas ALCS. I mean, the Astros still have to win another game, but it might be Astros, Texas Rangers. And then you'll see the clash of the Titans there in the American League. Like I'm seeing the clash of the Titans right now in the National League, in my opinion. And the Diamondbacks are showing that their relentless lineup and a consistent approach across the board is too overwhelming for a team like the Dodgers, who are missing backup pieces, incredible backup pieces, particularly on the pitching side. So what if they spent in free agency and got some supplemental signings and complementary players to really, really give that lineup length and give that rotation length? Dodgers would be better too. So I can still see them trying to trade for someone like Corbin Burnes, or if they don't want to forfeit those prospects, get somebody like Aaron Nola or Blake Snell to lengthen that starting rotation. Because there's no guarantee that rotation is going to be as good or better next year. No guarantee. So these are the lessons I'm finding from these playoff series and how they could be applicable to the Yankees. Okay, you let me know what you think. I want to know what your thoughts are. Again, if you subscribe to the channel, and I hope that you do, when you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well. That way you don't miss stuff when it comes out. That way you're in on everything in the Inside Scoop live time as it comes in. I want to give you the Inside Scoop while it's scooped. So I thank you for it either way. So, but that's what we got right now. Give me your thoughts and your feedback. Load up the comments. Let's talk about it. Okay, I got more guests coming on. We're going to continue to talk about this offseason and some other things, free agency. So stay tuned, gang. It's not going to slow down anytime soon. Have a great week. Talk next time.